My name's Mark Needham with StarTree, and in this video we're going to learn how to automatically ingest JSON records from S3 into Apache Pinot. Now we're going to start off from where we left off in our previous video, where we showed how you could manually ingest files from S3. So you can see here we've got our S3 bucket, so we've got 6 different JSON files, and if we come over to the next tab, you can see our Pinot UI, which has those records loaded. So you can see we've got just over 9,000 records in there. And if we come over to our next tab, you can see this is the config, the table config rather, that we're working with. So it's an events table, it's an offline table. And what we want to do is we want to add the config so that data gets automatically pulled from the bucket rather than requiring us to do a manual step. So if we come over to Visual Studio Code, you can see here we've got, this is the new table config for our events table. And if we look down the bottom, we've got a segment generation and push task. So this is what's going to be used to pull that S3 bucket and pull the files into Pinot. And you can see we've got a little cron task there, and it's running every minute. Now you probably wouldn't do it that frequently in production, so you could probably change that to every hour or every day. And then you can see above we've got the config, so we specify the key and the secret for our S3 bucket, and we specify where it is. The other thing that we need to make sure that we configure is when we're starting up our Pinot controller, we need to make sure that we pass in the config to ensure that the scheduler is enabled. If we don't have that, then none of that task will not get configured at all. So now we're going to come over to the terminal and we're going to update the events table to add that extra config. So if we run this command that you can see here, you can see it runs very quickly. There we go. The table's been updated. And if we go back to our web browser, we can see, there we go, the table config has been updated as well. So now all that's left is we need to generate some new data, get that into S3 and see whether it makes its way into Pinot. So let's come back to the terminal. So this is a command that I like to use, although you can use any command, it doesn't have to be this. And this just generates a bunch of data. So it's generating some UIDs, a timestamp, and then just a random count. And so if we stop that from running, and now if we go over to Finder, we can see, there we go, we've got a JSON file. Let's open that and have a look. So you can see we've got a whole load of JSON records, so 1 per row. And now if we go back to Finder, and we're going to upload that file into S3. And so if we do that, there we go. You can see that's now being uploaded. And if we come back over to our first tab, showing the bucket, let's hit a refresh on there. And there we go, you can see there the new file has been added. And so now all that we have to do is we've got to wait at least a minute for that file to be picked up. So if we refresh the query a few times, and then eventually there we go. You can see now we've got the new records in there. So now we've got more than 10,000 records in our table, and we've successfully loaded the new file from S3. And if we added in even more files, those would automatically be picked up as well. And so there we go. So we've managed to successfully get data automatically from S3 into Pinot, and that's the end of this video. Hopefully you can now take what you've learned in this video and apply it to your own data pipeline, so you too can get JSON files from S3 into Apache Pinot. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video.